Ayo, Angry Spork here with Young Justice Season 3, Episode 19, Elder Wisdom. It sees Lex Luthor in a foreign country, Bwanda, with the leader in perpetuity and Tempest, and they're being interviewed by G. Gordon Godfrey. They make Luthor a little Trumpish here, which I can't say I'm a fan of. Because you say, well, why didn't you use a location in the United States? Why? Is it because you have a hotel here? And Luthor says, I have hotels in many cities, which is very Trump-like. It's like, okay, I don't like the guy either, but there just feels something wrong about making Lex Luthor too much like Trump. Maybe it's because Lex is actually intelligent. Anyway, Troia is in her room, 1616. It's Earth 16 in this show. She's talking to Diana on her laptop, but she's all the way in space, so that's got to be some great Wi-Fi. Cassie Sandsmark, Mrs. Wonder Woman, their mother, Mrs. Wonder Woman, and the way Troia says it sounds like she and Diana are like biological sisters, or it could just be Hippolyta is the mother of all Amazons, so it's really more of an honorific than a biological title. But hey, Wonder Woman's needed in space, so, tell them that she misses them all and so forth. They're attacked. Tempest takes some spears. One, barely scratches him. You see a little bit of blood, but it's enough to knock him out. And the Luthor's like, Ambassador! And they all just kind of stand still as he falls down. It's like, oh no, don't everyone help at once. Then Troia is psychically attacked by someone in a high-tech suit just outside her door, and another one, a woman, crashes through the window with a sword. Troia's been knocked out by the psychic attack, and the woman with the sword's she kind of takes a pause when she hears Wonder Woman's voice over the computer, wondering, hey, sister, are you there? Hello? Anyone? Just before, any slicing and dicing can be done, Halo appears with Tara, and they, protect Troia, while Beast Boy calls the Outsiders to protect Luthor and the leader from the Bwandan Independence Front, a group that really, really doesn't like the leader, and they start their attack, and, Wonder Girl's there, El Dorado's there, officially calling himself El Dorado, the Golden One, and with Kid Flash. And the psychic outside the door is confronted by Miss Martian. So Terra and Halo confront the sword wielder, and, Terra's throwing rocks she carried with her. Halo tries to carry Troia out of the room, assuring Wonder Woman that they'll protect her sister. It looks like Terra's about to get slashed, so Halo jumps in front of her, and sword right across there. And they showed it from a couple different angles. Oy! Even if they didn't do this whole, each time she regenerates, it declines her overall health thing, it's... oh, yeah. Tara knocks the attacker with a stone mask on the wall, enough to hold Halo's throat until it starts healing. McGann's fight with the psychic in the hallway, I thought that maybe they'd cut to the astral plane or something, but they don't. There's just close-ups of them until the enemy loses, and McGann breaks open her mask and removes a control chip from the back of her head. And that's when the sword wielder gets an opportunity to play slicey-dicey with Troia's head again, but she wakes up just in the nick of time. Now the sword wielder has Halo, Troia, and Tara, and decides to just peace out. The fighting outside continues. Kid Flash narrowly catches an arrow headed for Tempest, who's still recovering, and then explosion right by his face, and El Dorado catches him before hitting a wall, and he's like, oh no, I got accelerated healing, I'll be fine in a minute. Tempest gets in on him. He uses his aquakinesis, I suppose you'd say, and arrow's about to skewer Gordon Godfrey. The arrow's caught by the Flash, who rounds up the rest of the militants, and he tells the Justice League, hey, no need to send reinforcements, I got some backup from the Outsiders, and El Dorado, he don't like that, at all. Beast Boy's hey, it doesn't matter where credit is due, But, there's the matter. The Justice League wasn't allowed in Wanda, but Luthor got permission from the leader to call in the League. And, points out how, these amateurish children interfered, without any legal permission. So our system works. A leaguer managed to clean this up in mere moments. So, and one of these poor children got hurt, and you hear Kid Flash say, "I'm gonna be fine," which is funny. So he formally thanks the Flash in front of the camera, and Flash is like, "Hey, always happy to help," but whispers to him, "I'm not gonna be part of this." Like, he doesn't like what Luthor's done. Beast Boy is, he wants to speak up about this, but McGann's like, "No, we gotta fall back. We're done here. This is Luthor's arena. You don't want to swim those waters." But of course, Beast Boy's like, "We'll see." He's really being aggressive this season, which is a little surprising because he was kind of present during season 2, which just didn't do a whole lot. But I'm wondering if maybe on some kind of business level, it's because of Teen Titans cartoons. I don't know. On the bio ship, McGann is talking to the enemy psychic that's no longer an enemy, who's recovering. She said she wasn't in control of herself, and McGann's like, "Hey, fine, just let us help you." And on the bridge, Beast Boy's like, that went a little too much in Luthor's favor. This had to be a setup, with Luthor just so at the ready to call the League. And, Leah, I think her name is, she walks in, blanket still covering her. She's like, "Oh, you are totally set up." I don't think that's the right accent. And I noticed that Halo's voice was still kind of scratchy, which, I don't know, maybe it's the more detailed, nerve endings in the throats, need work to heal, but it's usually it's she heals for a little bit and fine, but it was kind of surprising to hear her voice get all grating like that. On a different plane, the other two enemies were Shiva and Scandal Savage, the latter of whom is calling Luthor, asking, "Hey, did we win or did we lose? Because, we didn't kill those other UN ambassadors." And Luthor's like, "Hey, would have been nice to kill Troya, would have been nice to kill Garth. But, job one, defame the outsiders. They're trending now, but eventually opinion's gonna go the other way." And yeah, they captured one of their people, but, they can't prove anything. So Luthor has that, steely tone that he's very certain that they're going to stay in the clear. So they take Leah to the Taos facility, and McGann talks to Halo saying, "Look, you almost got decapitated. You're probably not going to heal from that." So, given that they still haven't discussed the matter of her arrest, they're like, "Look, until you talk to someone, me, Artemis, Dr. Jace, you're benched from the team." And Halo seems to basically accept that. Less acceptance is from Mr. Dorado, Dorado Sr. He understood his son's desire to join the team, the Outsiders, on an intellectual level, but seeing it live on TV and hearing Luthor set them up, he's like, no, he's going to rescind his permission. El Dorado's just had it. So he's has Halo boom tube back to their Hollywood base, and Beast Boy and the others leave with them in solidarity. So it's January 1st. Wonder Girl is insisting on, everyone training, but, Garfield and Tara are demolishing Blue Beetle and Static at, hollow air hockey. They're not sure how that works, but anyway. Jace tells Halo on the second floor, where no one else can hear, that, her mentor and she have not found yet a cure for this cell death. And, Brion wants to talk to his girlfriend in private because, she's been very distant. She hasn't been answering his texts. And, he wants her to open up. And she thinks about the money that Gabrielle Dowd took for opening that door to the palace. She thinks on the recent news that her body is decaying, and that unexpected kiss from Harper Row, she declares that maybe she's not a great girlfriend and walks away. To continue to prove to me that she is evil, Jace says, look, this is your first real relationship. This is her first relationship period. They can be very sweet, but they don't last. So, yeah, she's evil. And something I didn't mention in the last episode, Harper didn't kiss Halo because she really dug her, I don't think. She kissed her for the same reason she had the gun. She kissed her for the same reason that she had the booze. It was all an act of rebellion, something that probably her dad would get angry about, but hey, at least it would be some form of attention. And, you know, remember, Harper Row doesn't like anyone but herself. At least that's how I see it. I don't think that she is, you know, interested in Violet on a romantic level. I think it's all just, you know, trying to get attention to her for herself, but at least, unlike in the Eternal books, it's an understandable attention she's trying to get from her father or from, you know, some kind of responsible authority figure that is actually going to care. Beast Boy is focusing on how, you know, We Are the Outsiders is still trending when Eldorado's dad, Mrs. Sandsmark, and Jay Garrick all walk in saying that, you know, they need to have a talk about this. And that's when they get an alert that one of Professor Ivo's robot monkeys is running amok. And, you know, they're going to head out there to deal with it. Except the parents don't let Wonder Girl, Eldorado, or Kid Flash go because they're, you know, they're not emancipated and they're not 18. So it's a much smaller group, even smaller because Brionne's too depressed to go fight a robot monkey. So the outsiders that can actually go land in Dublin, following the post by a user, Little Matchstick Girl, I think 16, probably 16, which I'm wondering if that's because I'm pretty sure there's a short called Little Matchstick Girl out there. Like, I've heard about it. I've heard it's like really emotional and really good. I haven't seen it, but I could be confusing it with another shorts title. So they go to the electronics store her father owns, and he says that his good daughter's missing. He told the police about the robot monkeys, and they didn't seem to believe him. Fortunately, well, he's got some teenagers who deal with this kind of thing a lot. So as the parents and teens are arguing about what they're trying to do for, you know, other teens like them, Brionne basically barges into Halo's room. You know, he apologizes, so that's something. He says, look, I don't know what's going on, but he doesn't want to lose what they have without a fight. The one thing she chooses to say is that, you know, she kissed a girl. Not necessarily that she liked it. 80s song reference. Yes, that song existed before Katy Perry, believe it or not. She clarifies that she's just a friend, that she kissed me, but she didn't stop her, and it doesn't seem like she really has any feelings for Harper, so maybe in at least this, she's being honest, because who can have feelings for Harper that don't involve punching her very hard in the face? Brionne thinks that, hey, we can move past this now. But, you know, of course we know that ain't all. So, you know, the parents and teens are still arguing. You know, Mama Sandsmark's like, hey, you got a target on your chest that rightfully belongs to Wonder Woman. Her enemies are going to be after you. You know, you're not on a covert team anymore, so things have changed. And Jay Garrick, there are heroes who have not had the privilege of having a family, and he remembers Wally, and who was like a grandson to him, and he doesn't want any more holograms. And the kids feel the same way, but, you know, they don't want to stop helping people. And then Tara's watching this from the second floor. Halo opens up her door and says, look, there's something you and your brother need to hear. Oh! I really don't know why I'm doing this. Oh! Made myself a little dizzy. So, Garfield, Beetle, and Static enter a warehouse, and they find spider bots from, Luthor's design, and Ivo's monkeys. Combine them, and they become spider monkey robots! Look up there, there's Ivo with the girl he's taken hostage for some reason, and he sicks his monkeys on the heroes. As you do. So Brion thinks that Violet's gonna just recap how she's, the combination of a dead girl and a mother box, but no, she's saying, Gabrielle Dowd opened a door that let an assassin in, and she took a bribe from Baron Bedlam. And Brion's like, how long have you known? And she's like, long enough. But the way she says it is very serious and stern, and she doesn't seem to show the kind of concern she did before. She showed so much concern. She was so worried about these two finding out, and now that she's admitting to what her previous self did, she's just so stone cold about it. And I find that a little odd. I figured she'd look sad, maybe shed a tear or something, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. And Tara is just shocked. There's this really good moment of her walking out. You can hear her heartbeat. Her breaths are echoed, basically giving this feeling of, solitude and confinement. And her vision's going blurry as Brion just goes into his room to sulk. You'd think he'd think of his little sister that he was so concerned about in the first half of the season. Tara texts Deathstroke that, hey, the Outsider's parents are grounding them. Funny thing about that, Jay is really concerned, and he says, I'm your legal guardian, Bart. I never should have okayed this. But Bart's like, hey, this isn't about Wally. This isn't about me. This is about Joan. You're in mourning, but I'm not going anywhere. And someone has to help these meta kids. And, when as he's talking, we see a still image of Beast Boy tearing up some evil machinery. Wonder Girl's like, yeah, we're targets, but that's how meta kids feel all the time. So, we can show them how to empower themselves. El Dorado, he goes the family route. He's saying, families of these kind of teens, they're being torn apart all the time. So, we can help them show how to reunite. Each one of them says, if not us, who? And in a humorous little bit of acceptance, El Dorado Sr. says, whom? And it seems like, okay, they're on board with this now. So we get some cell phone footage of the factory where the girl was being held. By the way, I forgot to mention that when Wonder Girl was talking, the girl was taking a lead pipe to robot Ivo, because of course it was a robot. The building explodes, and the video is being shown on G. Gordon's show, and he has on his favorite guest, Secretary General Luthor. And Luthor's like, hey, the constabulary could have handled this, and emphasizes how, this is a pattern of them destroying stuff. There was the near death of Kid Flash and Wanda. Sad. I know, I'm sure he's just doing this thing because there are people who buy into Trump's mannerisms and thinking, no big deal. I was I don't like Luthor doing it, even if it's an act. Anyway, he's saying, hey, the parents of these kids don't like it. We should have a registry like we had in the 1950s. And Gordon shows a bit of contradiction. The parents of the Outsiders are actually on board with this. And and Jay Garrick posted a new Flitter account just to, put up a video of him saying, hey, no one could stop me when I was a kid. And then there's this whole bunch of people saying we are all outsiders on video, including Dr. Jace and Troya. And Garrick even posts saying, hey, the fascist registry didn't work in the 50s, it's not going to work now. Immediately after Luthor has said that. So, what do you know? the old man knows his social media. Now that's a superpower. Luthor has basically been punched in the face with a lot of contradiction to what he's been saying. And they cut to Gordon's dressing room where Luthor says, hey, that wasn't in the script. And Gordon's like, the script needed changing and you needed waking up. Ivo's factory was really Luthor's, and he lost millions in Spider-Bot soldiers. And, he's been focusing too much on attacking the outsiders, which has only made them popular. So Luthor realizes, well, maybe don't attack, embrace, and then co-opt. Then we go to the Batcave, where it's, the usual suspects, so to speak. McGann makes this remark, like, we need to give Superman a picture of grousing Luthor. He's going to want it framed. So it turns out that Oracle found out where Luthor was storing some weaponized spider bots. And all of them, without Wonder Woman, who's there via hologram, of course, is, they came up with this plan. Tim Drake reprograms some damaged Ivo monkeys and an Ivo bot to kidnap a little girl who was actually Miss Martian in disguise, and her father was Batman, who was playing Matthew Malone of Matches Electronics. Basically, they did what I thought they were doing in the Scooby-Doo episode. They were basically staging an event to make the outsiders look good. And Luthor will probably know that he's been set up, but as Luthor himself said in a very unpleasant parallel, Batman says, knowing and proving are two different things. And Wonder Woman's like, you have to see what's wrong with that. And she's not exactly wrong. And the episode ends with Halo. She's looking very despondent, and she starts writing something down on a notepad. And then we get the credits over the top of the Hollywood base where the bioship is resting in camouflage mode, but she kind of flickers out of briefly. And I recognize the voice of Jay Garrick. I didn't know his name. I keep forgetting the guy's name. A guy named Jeff Pearson. I mostly know him from an old sitcom called Unhappily Ever After. It was kind of like Married with Children, but with a crude bunny puppet. It was actually created by some people from Married with Children, so that would explain it. And Garrick even looks like Jeff Pearson, which I kind of found funny. As to Halo's revelations, she's, I'm a little surprised that she revealed what Gabrielle did this early. It was weird how stone cold she was. Brion didn't, grab his sister and take her outside so they can, mourn alone. But then again, he's like, this is his girlfriend that just told him this, so maybe he needs some of that solitude. Tara's reaction, I think that emphasizes a conflict she was experiencing with her mission. She'd grown attached to living with Artemis. I think she cares for Leanne. And Halo sacrificed herself for her in a heartbeat. Granted, she heals, but still, it's painful even to watch. This seems to tip her towards Deathstroke's side. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that out. In a lot of ways, Batman is a ninja, so deception is kind of part and parcel of his shtick. But, Wonder Woman's got a point. This is different than keeping some secrets from the League, even from the outsiders. They've been using, Luthor's tactics, basically. It's definitely a gray area. A dark gray area. And, I'm kind of surprised that no one else called Bruce out on this. There were 6 of them brainstorming this, so Oracle wouldn't say anything, Grayson wouldn't say anything. Maybe it's because I don't take the whole hashtagging thing too seriously. I'm on some social media, and I'll use hashtags to, promote my videos, but I don't think, oh, they're the best, oh, they're just the greatest thing ever, they're so influential and so important. But then, like, a couple days later, the hashtag's gone in it. So, it's kind of an overemphasis on the importance of hashtags. But I get it. This is about a group of teenagers, so there's going to be that focus. I can't help but think that eventually McGann is going to take in Harper Row and mold her into a hero. Like, maybe she'll start crime fighting on her own with a taser, just like in Batman Eternal. And just keep her away from Cassandra and Stephanie. Just keep her away from anyone related to Batman. Just keep her away. You want to keep Harper Row in the show for a while? Go ahead, fine. Just keep her away. Keep her away from Cassandra. Keep her away from Tim. Keep her away from Stephanie. Just keep her away. I'll see you later. Keep her away, Westman!